Aha! Teabag, bitch! Boy, all this virtual sodomizing of prepubescent sure brings me back. But how about we play a good old custom game?
Try Halo, pendejo.
Why'd you cancel the countdown?
Lo siento, accidente.
Oh, very funny. Another accident, I take it. Keep pushing me, you little cholo bot, and I'll subject you to the Halo Paramount premiere.
Ja.
Alright, goddammit, but you asked for this.
Shit! UNSC! Oh, shit!
So, the Halo TV series is finally here, and let me just preface this by saying it was actually better than I expected. But my expectations were so low, you'd think they were wearing apple-bottom jeans and boots with the fur.
Con la piel.
So let me get the positives out of the way because there is some cool stuff here. First of all, goddamn, it's a lot more violent than I expected. These crummies come right out of the gate blowing limbs off motherfuckers with hot plasma, even crowds of unarmed women and children. And I am pleased with that.
Violencia.
Frankly, I didn't think they had it in them. People seem to have mixed feelings about this, but personally, I thought getting to see the perspective of the insurrectionists was pretty cool. And I'm still intrigued to see more of this relationship between the Dune bitch and the Covenant. But let's talk about the CGI, because it's weird, dude. It's simultaneously really good and god fucking awful. I really hate the CGI has become the go-to method for most big budget movies these days. And I'm not saying it has no place, I'm just saying if it can be done practically, it should. And you should do everything in your power with the physical location and props to make the most of the CGI that's used. It's the reason why the animations in movies like Jurassic Park and Starship Troopers still hold up so well nearly 30 years later. We've already seen some really badass examples of what physical costumes and animatronics can look like for a Halo live-action series. I just feel like doing a combination of costumes, animatronics, and CGI for the Covenant would look a lot better. Just cram some midgets into a grunt costume like they did with the Ewoks and call it a day. I'm just saying, if you're gonna spend $100 million on a live-action Halo adaptation, it should probably look better than the in-game cutscenes. But now on to the characters. I actually don't mind the new ones they've introduced. I just wish it wasn't at the expense of removing great established characters from the source material. For example, Mr. Blackman is not Johnson. No, instead this guy is playing Captain Keyes, which I don't mind at all, but it begs the question, where the fuck is Johnson? Also, side note, I find it hilarious that immediately after making Captain Keyes black, they turn his character into a giant piece of shit. Speaking of characters, we've got to talk about Master Chief, and we all called it. They already showed his goddamn face. I mean, he looks like what I always expected Chief to look like, and he seems to play the character decent enough. But we should have just never seen him. They should have just left the bucket on and hired Steve Downes to voice act, goddammit. I get that they want a more fleshed out protagonist, but here's the thing. That's not Master Chief. That worked well and good enough in the novels to expand on the lore and explain the origins of the Spartan program. But Master Chief isn't supposed to be this deep character. He's just a big green fucker with badass one-liners who serves as a vessel to the more interesting stories surrounding the Covenant and the Halo rings. And this whole Chief going AWOL and disobeying orders thing is so fucking dumb. I know they got it directly from 343, and yet, my point still stands. 343 literally only did that because they couldn't think of anything else to do. Halo Infinite's story was decent, but that's because there was basically no story at all. You already have a compelling storyline about a character questioning the narrative of his faction and turning against them with the Arbiter after learning the truth about the rings. Honestly, Master Chief was always the opposite of this. He was literally designed to be a perfect soldier. He receives any mission or order, he gets the job done. He's the galaxy's biggest yes man. If you really want a more human character, then just pick one. Why not cast Sergeant Johnson as the lead with Chief as a side character and see more of what the human Covenant war is like for regular soldiers and get more interactions between ODSTs and Marines and other UNSC factions? I mean, Johnson was already featured as the lead character in Contact Harvest. And I want some campiness, man. I want to see the classic comedic banter between the Marines and the slapstick humor from the grunts. But I have a feeling we're not gonna get that. And like, the show doesn't need to play out exactly like the games, but it should at least feel like them. Example number 1, the music. You have the greatest video game soundtrack, nay, frankly one of the greatest soundtracks in any media of all time, and instead you fill the show with generic, uninspired bullshit. But alright, let's take a break to answer some phone calls, shall we? Chips Dubbo, you're our first caller.
Who the hell does Paramount think they are? Bloody disrespectful, mate. I'm a goddamn veteran of that war, I saw it all. Master Chief, Avery Johnson, Jacob and Miranda Keys. They were all me brothers in arms. I fought alongside them kicking ass in outer space. The gronks at Paramount say their show is taking liberties, but I call it fabrication of history, mate.
Do you have hopes that the show will improve?
Fat chance. I'd sooner find out how Johnson got off Alpha Halo in one piece. Rumour has it he had to root a Sangheili. I mean a friggin' Sangheili. That's foul, mate. But I don't judge. Them split lips must do it for someone, eh? I've seen Rule 34, mate. You don't need to tell me. But I'll leave it back to you, Zorb. Chips Dubbo out.
Okay, our next caller is, Alright, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. What did you think of the premiere? I have no idea what that guy just said, but I think we can all feel his passion. So, in closing, in case you weren't aware, the creators behind the show have outright said they don't play the games. But they're wildly popular for a reason. The studio should at least attempt to understand why that is. And maybe you think it's stupid, but these beloved characters and stories are important to people. And a big budget Halo TV show is something the fans have been dying to see for years. So I think it's fair to be concerned that the creators won't do it justice, because they just don't share that same love for the series. And considering other massive studios' wanton disregard for honoring the characters and stories they're based on, can you really blame anyone for lacking faith? But word down the grapevine is that the next episode sucks giant balls, so at least we've got that to look forward to.